Namaste, and thank you for joining me on my new Tottenham Hotspur fan channel, FML. Bleep my lily whites because it is crass to swear, but I need to reserve my language in case that sweet, sweet sponsorship money comes in. So basically, the reason I decided to start this channel was not only to discuss the bane of my existence, and if you're watching, you're probably a Tottenham Hotspur fan. It's the bane of your existence. But just to challenge myself, give myself new goals, step out of my comfort zone, do something that requires me to be a bit nervous, be a bit apprehensive. Like, it took me about 15, 20 minutes of just deep breath in, deep breath out to finally hit that start button and do this. So bear with me. It's probably going to be a bit of a process as I learn as I go, a bit of trial and error, which is probably should be the motto of Tottenham because there's been trial and error for the past few seasons with them. I'm not here to get 1 million subscribers. I'm not here to, basically lure you in to get that sweet, sweet Patreon money. I'm just here to learn a few things about myself and hopefully just grow as a person. One thing I can promise you, one thing that's for sure, I will lose viewers. And now that I just Thomas Frank myself out of a YouTube career, let's get started with Thomas Frank, who's just been sacked about, I guess, a week and a half ago from Tottenham after a run of dreadful performances. I've never felt so disconnected with this team in the 17, 18 years I've supported it. They're flat, they're passive, they've got no bite, they've got no snap in their tackles. They just don't seem like they want to play for the badge, let alone play for themselves. And I think it all comes down to, well, I think Frank overall is a good manager. I think he was just not a good fit for Tottenham. Tottenham needs somebody who's going to push us. Tottenham needs somebody who's going to remind us that we play with flair, we play with style. We like to keep the ball on the pitch, get the crowd off their seats. And yeah, multiple times, more times than I can count, we fly too close to the sun, like Icarus getting his wings burned, and we fall back down to earth, flat on our face, and get humbled. But in that process, we stand up on a big stage and we show people on our day, Tottenham can stand with the big boys and land a few punches. And I just don't think Thomas Frank had that personality. To me, I go back to like the story of Cinderella, where the prince went from woman to woman trying to find who can fit into the glass slipper, right? And for the past few seasons, whether it be Frank, Conte, Mourinho, Nuno Espirito Santo, ever since we got rid of Poch, we've been just trying to shove that glass slipper on any foot available, whether it's too small or too big, and it's just not worked. It's been season after season of just uncomfortable viewing, knowing that this isn't going to work, this doesn't fit, and it's just a process of falling flat on our face and having to get back up and start again. And I wish Thomas Frank all the best, but like, he just didn't have it. I mean, he was just too like passive and like mild-mannered. He's consistently praising up the scum, which if you're a Spurs fan, you know who I mean by the scum. That's the one rule I will have on this channel. I will not use the A word. And like, even that's why I held up that cup earlier. There's a little shot that he was caught holding a scum cup before a game. Like, It's just, from all reports, he seemed to have this weird obsession with how great they were. And it's like, that's not who we need at the helm at Spurs. We need somebody who's going to have us stand on our own 2 feet and not worry about what they are doing or they're doing, especially the lot down the road. We don't need to worry about them whatsoever. Like, they don't even belong in North London. So, but in the end, it just didn't work. Thomas Frank, I feel, if Thomas Frank had a spirit animal, it would be the chair in the corner of a hotel room. And most likely on the red side of in a hotel on the red side of North London, where he'd probably bask in the fact that he could be covered in stains. I mentioned earlier the whole Cinderella glass slipper trying to find the perfect fit thing. I think that perfect fit is Mauricio Pochettino. I think it was his glass slipper to begin with. We took it off him in fall of 2019, and we've been trying to find someone to fit into that slipper ever since, and it's not going to fit anybody but him because it's his slipper. He needs to come back, take control of the club, and finish what he started. He got us ever so close in 2019 to winning the Champions League. He's got us ever so close a couple times to winning the Premier League. And I think we need to finish what we started with him. I believe time heals wounds, so his little stint at Chelsea can be forgiven if he can get hired, come into the club, get a few right signings going, and hit the ground running. But in the meantime, in between time, we have an interim coach, Igor Tudor, Croatian gentleman who's coached all across Italy. And he seems to have the reputation of not a permanent coach, but a consistent interim coach or a consistent caretaker. He seems to be the guy where if the team needs to be grabbed by the scruff of the neck and dragged up the table, he can do that. He saved Udinese from relegation. I believe he's come in and saved Lazio when Juventus looked like they weren't going to finish in the Champions League. He came in, took over on a temporary basis, got him into the Champions League. It seems like from all his previous positions, long term just isn't his deal, which it's fine. We just need somebody who's going to get us a few wins, pull us away from that relegation zone so we know heading into next season, our spot in the Premier League secured, and the board can focus on how do we rebuild this dumpster fire. We've got so many players who can't stay healthy. The list of our long-term injuries is mind-blowing. Madison, Kulusevski, Kudos. Solanke just came back from a long-term injury. Key players who are missing months and months at a time. William Ortebert just went down with an ACL. He'll be gone for a year. So, we just need to get somebody who can just put out the dumpster fire, pull us away from the flames, and just get us safe so we can just go forward and just try and reestablish our identity. To dares to do that's what my problem has been with this team all season is they don't play with that to dares to do style. The last scum game, they rolled us over and pissed in our mouths. We put up no fight. Yeah, of course we're going to lose to them every once in a while, or probably more often than I'd like to admit, especially the past few seasons. But at least leave it on them. Bloody their nose, bust up their lip, do something. Just don't die on your feet instead of just giving up on your knees. And too many times this season, Tottenham have just given up on their knees, and I know the fan base is just completely divided. They've never felt more detached from the club. They feel like a lot of these players just don't really seem to care about the badge. They don't seem to care about, the embarrassment of losing every single week. But hopefully it can all start this Sunday as we play the Scum in the North London Derby. It's going to be a tough game, to be honest. Unfortunately, I feel they're going to win the title because, quite frankly, they've just been the most consistent team all season. It's like everyone's running a marathon and getting exhausted 8 miles in, 10 miles in, 11 miles in, and catching their breath or needing water or stretching their hamstrings. And they're just doing a nice brisk walk to the title. They don't need to stop for water. They don't need to stop to stretch their hamstrings. They don't need to take a break. They're going at a nice, moderate pace, and it's working for them. They're keeping it simple. So it's going to be a tough game, especially with all our injuries, but it does seem like Richarlison could be back for the game. Igor Tudor apparently prefers a back three, so I'm going to think we're going to get Mickey Van de Ven, João Palhinha, and probably, I'm going to guess, if not Archer Gray, probably Radu Dragonson in that back three. He seems to be slightly more attacking than Thomas Frank, so maybe we'll have the players will have a bit more freedom. Let the shackles off a bit. We don't want to be too gung ho, as it's going to be a tough game, and the Scum have all the tools in the toolbox to win home or away against any team in the Premier League. So we need to be wary, but we also need to show people that we're not gonna go quietly into the good night. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up right now. This was super nerve-wracking for me. I'm probably gonna look back at this one video in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, and just absolutely cringe. Hell, I'll probably look back at it in 5 minutes and absolutely cringe, but it's taken one small step outside my comfort zone and just talking about Tottenham. I love Tottenham. I've supported them for 17 years. I was in tears when they won the Europa League back in May. When I'm having a bad day or I'm stressed out, I have an entire community of people, Tottenham fans in the Discord group chat that, we bring each other up when we're feeling down. We hype each other up when we accomplish good things, and it's an awesome community of people. And we've all just been blah all season because of just how bad it's been. Not just this season, last season and the season before. So again, my goal of this channel is just to once a week maybe make a 10 to 15 minute video, talk about the game that just happened, give my thoughts on if there's anything going on throughout the week, and maybe preview the next game. I'm going to hope to try to do this every single Wednesday and just try to be consistent and try to get a little bit better every single day, every single week. There'll be weeks where it'll probably be unwatchable. There'll be weeks where you're like, hey, this guy's making a little bit of progress, and a little bit of progress is like a gold medal around my neck right now. So if you guys have any suggestions, comments, compliments, constructive criticism, anything that you think could help me, that'd be great. Whether it's slow down my speech pattern, sit up straighter. One piece of advice I got a while ago, about a year and a half ago, was tweeze my unibrow. So that's always great advice. Nobody wants to eat unibrow. So thank you for watching. I want to send a little shout out to my buddy Nassim, who pushed me out of my comfort zone and told me to just give this a go. Don't do it for anybody else but yourself. I want to thank my buddy Josh, who gave me some good advice. My coworker Steve, who gave me some good advice about just be myself, don't think too much. And I want to thank Ricky from the GOAT of Tottenham podcast, The Fighting Cock, and his own podcast, Lads and On. You should subscribe to both, by the way. Absolute legends, who just are encouraging and giving advice. So I want to thank everybody for all that. I want to thank all of you for watching, and Obrigado. Come on, you Spurs.